And I do think because it's getting dark outside now, maybe we should turn on some lights unless we want to go to sleep.
Sure.
Because if it stays too dark in here, I might go to sleep on you.
I have had,
There we go, summer on.
there's summer coming on. One student once fall asleep in class, but I don't think it was me.
Did
Intentional.
they snore?
Did they snore? No, it was more one of those, your head falls forward and then you wake up repeatedly kind of things. I did that when I was.
I'm only saying that because I've been up since 6:45 this morning because someone had to go to work.
Yeah. Okay, so welcome to Math B for spring term. Thank you for having your Zoom cameras on. The reason I ask that is it helps build a sense of community, that people tend to stick around longer if there's faces and you're not just in a class that's a lot of black screens with names on them. For everybody, there's some level of how crazy life has to get before you decide a math class isn't worth it anymore. Welcome, by the way.
He just came in, so we need to figure out what his name is.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish my little spiel and then you can introduce yourself. Okay, let him relax, catch his breath. So anyway, so there's always some level of like what happens before you drop a math class, whether it's, you know, you're switching jobs, or your kids get sick, or your car breaks down, or whatever. And there's nothing we can do about that, but the more that we sort of feel like we're part of a group, we're having teamwork and some things we can do together, we're cooperating on projects, interesting things, we're supporting each other. That kind of raises that threshold a little. So maybe whatever craziness would happen in life that makes you think, I don't have time for this math class this spring. Maybe you can handle a little bit more craziness. There was one term where this was years ago, back when I would start the class by writing on the whiteboard before all the computers were going. And I would be writing on the to-do list for the day, what topics we're doing on the whiteboard, and there would be this giant sigh. It was one woman who, this was like her relaxing time. The kids weren't pulling on her, her boss wasn't nagging her. In math class, she knew that maybe she's gonna have to do something on the board. But compared to the rest of her life, this was like the quiet, relaxing, safe space where nothing terrible was going to happen, no calamities would happen. So hopefully this class is like that, and even if things get busy, then you stick around. It maybe not be quite as fun during your 6 o'clock dinner time as some other things you could be watching, but you get math out of it, so there we go. Okay, you want to introduce yourself now? We had all gone around doing this.
Hey, I'm Gavin.
Yeah, okay, hi Gavin.
Hey, Gavin.
Let's just say.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about Moodle. So looking at my screen.
Do I need a laptop for that?
Later on, I'll go get some loaner ones for the people that don't have one, but for now, just watch them. Your Moodle page is a little different than some. If you have done Moodle in other classes, there's often these like purple unfolding bars. They're called accordions. And they are really annoying, especially if you're using a phone.
That's what I have to do is use my phone and it isn't. And it really is annoying. I discovered that last semester.
So Moodle has this thing called books. And instead of the purple unfoldy bits, I'm using the things called books. I'm gonna show you how that works. If I click on one of them, like welcome and actually, first let me look like a student. Switch role to student. Okay, so when you log in, it looks like that, much calmer. I'm gonna say welcome and syllabus. And now here's the pages of the book. And this is what it looks like on a PC. But if you're on your phone, it's a little bit different, but it basically works the same. And just like you would expect, you can go next and previous to turn the pages of the book, as well as have a table of contents. The table of contents sort of pops out from a different place on the phone. So this is much nicer to have sort of a page by page rather than just scroll down and down and down, especially on the phone. Okay, what do I want to highlight? I'm not going to read through all the welcome and syllabus. You can do that on your own. But a few things that, first of all, you're here in the right class at the right time. And the Zoom room link, if you ever forget it, is there, as well as right at the top on the main page. So if you're in a rush, then you can always just do that if you haven't bookmarked it, but bookmarking works well. I'm gonna also open that while I'm thinking about it. Okay, so back to the book. The Lane Support Hub, if you haven't seen that. come
Okay,
on.
it says, no, I can't reach the page.
Yeah, the internet here is a little flaky sometimes. If you want some tutoring, then you have lots of options. You can use the Lane Support Hub. If I was to click on this link now, someone would be there in Zoom. And it works sort of like the kind of bank where everyone gets in one line and then you go to the different tellers. So you go to one Zoom room and then you say, I want to talk about math right now or writing or whatever, and then they send you to the tutor that does that kind of thing. If you want to have a more scheduled thing, you can make appointments and so on. I'm not gonna go into how to do this, but just know it's there. I need to know, yeah, what we want to do for office hours. I just put right now Monday noon to 1, but no one likes that. I just have to tell my office something. So think a little bit as I'm drawing on about when you want my office hour to be. It can be here physically, it can be in Zoom, it can be both at the same time. But it's nice to do homework when the instructor is just there bored. Right, treat me like one of those waiters at a fancy restaurant where my job is just to sort of stand around and wait for you to want something. And that way, when you're doing your homework, if you get stuck, then you can say, oh, what's happening here? That's a great thing.
Getting like dishing up order of, I'll be doing better at math.
Yeah, I wish I could. It would be nice if math worked like the Matrix movie and I could just plug a cable into you and ta-da, now you know calculus. No, it doesn't. Math is very much like pottery or martial arts or skateboarding, right? Skateboarders talk about time on the board. It doesn't really matter what you do on the board, just the more time on the skateboard, the better you'll be. And math is similar, but unfortunately it's with homework. My job here is to show you a little bit of things and lubricate your brain so the thoughts start working right. Make things look not scary if due to some past teachers, things were scary. But I really can't make anything stick. I'm just gonna put things in your brain very short term.
Like mine.
And your job is to do a lot of homework and then they will stick long term. And some people just don't have time for a lot of math homework. At a certain time, like spring of 2024, and that's okay. Some people take math twice as their plan, right? They know that they're not gonna have enough time to do whatever homework it is. And depending on your foundation, then maybe that's more, maybe that's less. But you
But
need
what
to-
if homework was a terrible subject for you in high school? I admitted homework was a terrible subject for me in high school. I'm not good with math.
We're gonna talk some about how to do homework efficiently too, because you can easily waste a lot of time doing homework and that's not helping you. So we'll talk about how to do homework in a smarter way. But yeah, there we go. Okay, so office hours, sometime you'll do office hours. And I can do more than 1 hour a week if people are working. When I was teaching in the pandemic, often students would want to get study groups to do homework together, and I would just check in on each of them. There was the Saturday afternoon study group for the people that were working a lot. There was the late Thursday night study group for the people with kids that, the kids are in bed, I can finally do math. So I can do that and haunt your study groups if that's what you want. Okay, there's a calendar here. We need to put the office hours on it, but oh well. Class rules, again, keep your camera on as much as you can. I know that part of the advantage of being in Zoom is you can get food and things. You might not always be right in front of your computer or phone, but do that. A little bit each day is best. It's like math is very much in your brain like a foreign language. We want it to be something more like jokes, where if you hear it once, you remember it forever. But it's not. It's something that requires practice, and a little every day is a lot better than a whole bunch crammed on 1 day a week. And then work in groups if you can. Nothing predicts math success more than working in group. And some people hate that either because of their schedule or just because they are kind of by personality more of a lone ranger. And you certainly can your GED, not ever doing group work, but I will talk a lot about how to make group work efficient and effective, and it saves time. Okay, so if I hit the next button, we'll go on. There's pictures of me and Trisha. Yeah, Trisha is having medical surgery thing, you'll see her later in the term. Resources, this is a good one to look at carefully, the resource page. We have 2 textbooks. One of them is the one that's the official one for the class, which is pretty terrible. The other one is this nice one, which you get to use when you're here, but not take home.
And I,
We already
Yeah,
went through
go ahead
this.
and open it.
We keep trying telling you.
I'm going to show you the difference between them. So the free textbook is from a page called OpenStax. It's not bad, but there's not much really good about it either.
That
It
food
has-
looks yummy, it's making me hungry.
So if I want to look at subtracting, then I close, okay. Then yeah, it gives me some little warm-ups, explains things, it gives me example problems. Sometimes with the example problems, it shows me step by step how to work through them. Other times it doesn't, and you're sort of reliant on your teacher or a tutor or someone to show you what the answer is. It has some nice diagrams, not the prettiest picture, but it works. So, and then at the end, as you would expect from a math book, then it gives you a whole page of problems. Where's the end? Ta-da. So that's very much what you would expect from a free textbook online. It's kind of the bare minimum, as politely, cleanly presented as you can without any fancy website things, but there we go. Okay, what we have is something called XYZ, so I'll open that one. And if we go to subtraction there. No, not fraction. Okay. Just to compare. Then it looks prettier, right? They have a nicer layout, boxes have some background color and so on. And the great thing is every example problem has 2 buttons next to it. And if you have a physical book, there's a QR code, so you can put your phone to it. And when you click on one of these, then this is the give me a problem similar to the example problem, so I can check if I'm understanding it. Don't worry about the code. And then if I click on the TV one, then there's different people doing this example problem, one of them always in Spanish. So if you're not sure what to do and you're stuck, then you can always watch the videos of that exact problem. So it's sort of like a magic Harry Potter book where people are acting things out as you go. So that's why it's worth having a few physical copies of this. If you are a remote student, I'm going to put into chat now the username and password. Whoops, no slash at the end, that was me just having clumsy fingers, and there's a link to it. So you can log in and use that. If you have a physical copy here, then don't use the code inside it. We'll save those for future terms or students that are out in Florence or things like that. So anyway, I know the publishers, they're nice people. They let us all share one thing because we're not all using it at the same time. So that's why this book is great, because for every example problem, you have videos and you have show me similar problems, and that's really helpful. It also just looks nice, which is pleasant if you're doing math. As usual, at the end, there's a page of problems. The way that this book is laid out, normally in a math book, there's answers to odd numbered problems at the end. And if you have the physical book, that's what it is. If you're looking online, what you'll want to do is go to tools and then supplements, and then selective answers. And that's where you'll get the odd numbered problems answers for that section. So if you're in Zoom or if you're doing this at home, you can still use this to its full extent. Okay, I'm gonna leave this open. By the way, you don't need to log in if you're just looking at chapter 1. That's how they try and get popular and sell more books. But if you look at chapters beyond chapter 1, they're gonna ask you for the username and password. And I'll share that in the after class email for people that aren't grabbing it from chat. Okay, so anyway. We aren't going to do homework with the book. The book is just for you to do enough practice that you're feeling happy with the topics after I've given some explanation about it. Just as like the icing on the cake to show that you really got it, then we'll have homework in Moodle. The homework in Moodle uses another place called My Open Math, but you don't actually need to know that. There's no extra login or anything. You're just doing stuff in Moodle as far as you know. I've talked a little bit about how it's set up. We're not gonna worry about that now. Okay, if you ever need a calculator and for some reason your phone doesn't have a good one, then I can help you if you're here in person or on Zoom, find a good phone app. There's also a great one that I will use while lecturing by a website named Desmos. And this way, when I'm recording, whatever I'm doing on the calculator will be recorded. Whereas if I just used a calculator in front of me, then it wouldn't be part of the class record, and that would not be as good if you were absent. Okay, I don't have it yet, because we haven't recorded anything finished yet, but there will be a YouTube playlist. When I am done with the class video, then it goes in Zoom automatically. And I will send out a email after each class about here's the video in Zoom and here's the video in YouTube. If you look at a video in Zoom, it's nice because it has a automatic transcription feature and it's searchable. So if you remember, oh, there was something in that class where David talked about adding fractions, when was that? You could search for adding fractions and it would jump right to that. So that's pretty nice. But other people just are used to YouTube, so I put everything on YouTube also. That's why we weren't recording when we all introduced ourselves. Okay, again, work with people and all sorts of great things about LCC and so on. I'm gonna skip that for now, maybe talk about that Thursday, but I want to get to some math today and not just. Okay, there's what we're doing. Official class description, yeah. This isn't a graded class. If you need something official, let me know, because again, some people, their boss wants some proof that they did well in this class or so on, so I could certainly do that kind of thing. Read through all the responsibilities. And then what comes next? I'm gonna close this for now, just for the make it more readable. Is this a big enough thing for people who are looking in Zoom, or should I make this font bigger? Looks good? I see it. Okay, so might be hard to see, but there's kind of brown things as well as black things. So everything that's black is what we are doing this term in Math B. And everything in brown is supposed to be like gold, is what we will add in Math C. And the way this is organized is that when you want to learn math, think about it in a few different ways. You have things that you do just with one number at a time. Like, let's round the number. And then you have things you do with what's called an expression, which is when you put things together, but there's no equal sign until the end. So when I'm adding or subtracting or multiplying or dividing, right? If I see 1/2 plus 1/4, there's no equal sign except for at the end. So how to smash things together, like you're a mathematician, and see what number comes out. That's what expression is about. And the last one is equations, like 2x = 5. That kind of thing. There's an equal sign to start with, and you're usually solving for a letter or something like that. So that is kind of a good way to organize math. And if you are not taught carefully, it can be harder to learn math if your teacher doesn't tell you which one you're doing. So a common example of this is people get confused between adding fractions and cross multiplying, which is for proportions. Adding fractions is something in expression. Right? That's actually right here, fraction arithmetic, Math C. There's no equal sign to start with, just like 1/2 plus a quarter. Whereas cross multiplying is something you do with equations, with ratios. So x over 2 equals 3/4, or something like that. There's an equal sign there in the middle. They're very different creatures, and you won't be tempted to multiply in an X shape, which is the wrong thing to do if you're adding fractions, if the teacher was clear about which one you were doing. So I'll be clear, are we doing something to one number at a time, or are we smashing numbers together as an expression, or are we solving an equation? And then as far as the topics, then there are things you just do with numbers, things you do with fractions. We talk about a ratio, which is a little bit different than a fraction, but all of this is gold. So this is all next term. I will mention things just a little bit this term to kind of back burner, get things bubbling in your brain, but ratio, they say for Math C. Percentages and measurement, so those are sort of our big subtopics. And this chart lets you see which things are single expression or equation for all of them. Okay, anything else to do? If you're curious about the GED, there's a lot of stuff here in the GED info part of the welcome and syllabus. I'm not going to go over that, as most people in Math B aren't planning on taking a GED this term. If you need help with that, let me know. Okay. Why is there a discussion forum in the syllabus? Oh, okay, to make some introductions there. Okay, so the next book would be the place value one. Don't go ahead, all of the books that start in 2 and 3 and 4, I haven't finished those yet, because there's stuff I'm doing, but this one is ready. So for any math topic, our first one is place value, then you'll have something that looks like this. Again, it's a book, again, there's a few pages. It shows you the same links to the textbook and which sections to go to. So for the XYZ nice one, it's section 1.1, so chapter 1, section 1, and section 4.1, chapter 4, section 1. That little section symbol, I didn't make that up, that really is a thing.
Which one, what did you just highlight again?
So this one, that would mean you go to the nice textbook, so 1.1, place value there.
I'm looking for the symbol you put.
The symbol, that just means chapter and section, I don't know what the symbol is here. And then 4.1 would be decimals, place value. And then it's saying I have to log in, so sure, I log in. Then along with the textbook, it says that we have a virtual whiteboard. So if I wrote something on the dry erase board in this room, it first of all wouldn't stick around for anybody. And it would be kind of not fair to the people in Zoom. So instead we have a virtual whiteboard, and this is why I'm about to go get some loaner laptops for the people that don't have one. So we can all do stuff together. And that I already opened, but I'm going to put the link. Okay, set the cookies. I don't want to sign up, I want to sign in. No, not join the team. Okay, log in.
It signs you out.
Sometimes for some reason, it thinks I need to make an account rather than just log in. Okay, I'm gonna put this in the chat. And what I'm actually going to put in the chat is slightly different. I'm gonna put in the join thing. So if you haven't done that there. Okay, so if you click on that, then you will be able to see this. And I'll talk about this more in a moment, but this is our giant whiteboard with stuff. you can make it bigger or smaller. Each one of these little pages, we're going to do as an activity, starting with a nice warm up here in a moment.
That is
But there's a lot.
That is too small for me, I can't see it when it's that small.
How about now? Is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay, yep, we're gonna work like this, because that's the way it's nice. Okay, so that's the books and boards. Then we have videos. So if you want to find videos about the topic, you have, first of all, the magic textbook. But some people have favorite YouTubers they like to watch. I have gone through and found what I hope are the best math videos for each topic, because it can be overwhelming and a chore to try and find the good ones, especially if you don't know the math topic already. So like here is one YouTube thing, and math antics, they're kind of fun people. Oh, come on, did it not work? I haven't double checked my links since I made them. Okay, well, I will fix those. I know what they are supposed to be. It looks like my URL shortener has expired since I made these. So I will fix that. And then my open math is the homework. In this case, the first topic, you have 3 homework assignments. One of them is just an intro. A second is how to enter answers, because it can be a little weird. And then the actual homework for place value. And then the person who made the free textbook has made some very nice worksheets that people like. So I have links to those also, even though there aren't any for place value. So that's what we'll do. Okay, so I'm going to now look at this. I'm gonna pause the recording as I go grab loaner laptops, now that I know how many people are here. And when I come back, then we'll all start doing these things on the whiteboard. So take a 5-minute break if you're home, stretch your legs, get some food, pay attention to kids, whatever it is you need to do. I'll see you in 5 minutes. So hopefully everyone is able to be looking at the whiteboard on their own screen now. And I'm not going to stop the screen sharing, because we only are recording what my screen is doing. So it might be a little tricky, especially Chromebooks sometimes have trouble jumping back and forth between the Zoom and the whiteboard. So practice that. If you're stuck on a phone, then I'm sorry, it's just not as nice as having a tablet or PC, but here we go. So I'm going to say, pull everyone towards this view.
Okay, I logged in, so now what do I do?
So,
I can also hold each of them.
yeah, there you go. And then whiteboard is here. Whiteboard is here. That's the simple, we do the whiteboard one. There you go. I want you to sign up, so just use your Lane CC email as a little okay, but we have a little puzzle to solve. It says, what color is each shape? Out of habit, I like stand up and point it, sorry, I've been a teacher too long. So we have 4 squares, we have 2 circles. We don't want to rearrange them. But when you click on them, it will let you change what color they are. I can say, oh, let's change this square from clear to purple or something like that. So go ahead and mess this up. This is your version to change. I have an original saved for posterity elsewhere. And you're trying to figure out what colors make this true. Red is not next to blue. Blue is between yellow and gray. Green is not a square, blue is on the right of white, and yellow is not a circle. So talk to each other. If everyone just starts clicking on things without talking, it's not going to work well. We don't have plates, we have
Pick your password.
and see if you can, together as a group, solve the puzzles.
Just right going, just
Yeah.
But I didn't want to carry it.
Most of login. Why are you? There we go.
You need help?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm choosing Catherine's name in her birthday, but I got the Catherine part, but when I was trying to do space to put her birthday in, it wasn't working.
Yeah, that's working for you.
I don't know, it's like, I don't need it downstairs.
You own the access, do you need to get real access? It's very much, yes.
Oh, I have to go there. Six days ago, so I can't
We could go back to the main.
Okay, your email there, we have your email there.
Big board is here, like, see if that's.
Sure.
So the weird plus look at trends.
Digital code. See,
There you go.
there it is. Yeah.
It should be true that once you've done that, it knows your email and you don't have to use that particular.
Okay.
Oh, crazy.
Okay, I'm gonna bring people to me, so your Zoom and everything is correct.
That is so small, I mean, I can't see that.
Oh,
You're fine. You see that?
yeah, you got it. Okay, well, do you need help, anyone in Zoom? I see some names, but not all of them.
I,
The recording, and have you shared your screen, if that helps me tell you where to click on things to get it working?
I'm just
Might be.
logging, I'm just logging to my,
I'm gonna pause for now then, so I can help people if I need to. Okay, recording. Red is not next to blue. Okay, diagonals don't count, that's true. Blue is between yellow and gray. Yep, that's true. Green is not a square, okay. Blue is on the right of white, yep. And yellow is not a circle. Ta-da! So we did it. Good job.
Okay.
Cool.
Oh, that, I mean, so not now.
Cool,
Thank you.
just thinking thing.
Okay, any questions about that before we move on?
No,
Is that like a kind of a thinking, a riddle kind of version? of
Yeah,
it?
yeah, well, we have lots of these warm-up problems. And partly it's because it helps with learning. Just like if you're doing exercises, you don't want to do too much of one exercise. So if we interrupt the lecture with little thinking things, then it keeps your brain muscles stronger. And part of it is to just, have fun things to do as a group.
Cool.
The nice thing is, in 10 weeks you say, math used to be scary, but now it's not scary anymore. And these kinds of fun things are part of that. Okay, so if you haven't figured out, because maybe you didn't click through the intro in Miro, if I click on something, I will move it around. I can undo with the undo redo here on the side. I can only undo and redo my things. So if you mess things up in the thing, I can't fix them with just undo. You have to undo your own things if you accidentally, oh, let's take the instructions and move them over there, right?
How do you get those things to make you do the
Let me see. On the side, you need to sign in. It's not, right now you're in view only because you didn't put in your LCC password.
I just
I think but before we were able to make up here.
So,
What about you?
sounds good. Other things you can do is there's an arrow to move things around. Now I have a stylus and a pen. And so if I want to draw, whoops, stepped in my glasses. Then I have an easier time than you. You don't have this fancy thing. If I'm trying to draw and say, And, 3x plus 5, I can do that with fairly neat handwriting. You're gonna have a harder time.
Yeah.
So that's okay, because I have designed these activities where you don't need to have a pen the way I do.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Now, I wanna get more of these activities, exercises.
We'll do gazillions of them. So
Oh,
the
good.
text boxes is,
Good, will make it easy for me with these exercises because when I did it with Jolie, it's too hard because didn't get the exercises.
okay, when you make text boxes, that's one way that you can input things without having to have a pen that I do. At 14 font is a little small. So here's a text box I just made. I can change the color, all that kind of stuff. You can draw shapes. And that's basically it. You don't have to use the rest of the things.
Okay,
And then-
just for rules.
Yeah. Your mouse has 2 buttons. If you hold down the other mouse button, then it scrolls. So
Yeah.
now we're over here, and again, I'm gonna just pull everyone towards me,
Yeah, I'm here.
so.
Right here too.
Right here.
And now we'll move on. We've had our warm up, we can start talking about place value. So according to one humor novel, the best spaceship in the universe can fly faster than light because math works differently in restaurants. This claim is beyond the scope of our math class, but it's true that math works differently with money. There's only one way to write the 2-digit number 11, right? 1 next to each other. But you can represent it in more than one way using money. So somebody grab that wallet and slide it off to the top or something. And then there's a bunch of bills inside. Try and show me how many ways you can make 11. Can you make 11 3 different ways?
Got 10, got, and even ones, bunch of ones too.
Okay, so it looks like Margaret made one thing. I'm gonna move it a little bit farther for her. Just so no one overlaps it, because sometimes aim is.
And it's triple Margaret, that's good.
Yeah, I'll make it too.
It's interesting.
It is.
So 2 of them are correct.
Okay, while you're doing that, and without me dragging all your arrows to me, I promise to show you that if you are in Zoom, you're not giant. So here's the picture I took. So the people in
There
Zoom,
you go, I see it.
right, you're these little bitty things up at the top of the screen. So don't worry that you're some giant.
But it looks like I'm a giant.
There we go, I like this.
I do,
Okay,
this
so-
makes it easier.
Yep, we did it. We have 10 and 1, that makes 11.
Uh-huh.
5 and 5 and 1, that makes 11, and then just 11 ones all piled together.
Yeah,
Everyone happy with that?
yep,
Yeah.
I'm very happy.
Okay. So the rules for writing numbers are what we call place value, and they say that we can't be as flexible as with money. Instead, we can first of all only use ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, those kinds of numbers.
Uh-huh.
And if we have 10 of the same thing, we're required to exchange it for the next time, right? If you have 100, then you can't put it in the tens column. You have to start in the hundreds column.
Uh-huh.
So I have a bunch of bills here. Somebody double click this text box and edit it to make it the number shown on the screen. There's 200s, and then what else?
Two hundreds, and what else?
Don't make more monies, but you can move them around to see them more clearly. That's fine.
There's from what I can see, there's 100 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 $10 bills.
Okay, so we're up to 250 from those.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 $1 bills.
Okay,
We're missing some.
I mean 12.
so we have 200 and 5 tens is 50, and we have 11 more.
Yes.
Think that.
Everyone agree with
So,
Jody's counting?
No, there's 12,
I feel
12.
like there's 12.
12, okay, 12.
Around.
12.
So I still don't have a good answer though, because 250 and 12 isn't how we write a number.
No,
No, it's not.
262.
262, okay, so somebody edit the text box and make it just say 262, and then we'll be done, so.
Oh crap. Oops.
Not work.
My phone's. Yeah. Let me in.
On here.
Okay, we have. Text box, I didn't do a text box in there. And. Use text box. See.
Okay, is that turned off?
Yeah.
We're done, okay. You need more, you know?
Oh, it's somewhere right.
262, okay, yay. So I'm gonna move on, use my other mouse button to scroll.
Scroll me through.
Okay, and then pull everyone towards me.
Got it, I moved.
So for each of the numbers below. Drag things to show what the true value of 3 is. So in that first blue number, 14,532. That 3 is not a 3, it's a 30. It looks like a 3 on the paper. But it's really saying I have 30 of something.
Yeah, 0.
So I'm gonna move the 30 over and the 30 over to show that. So for the other two numbers, what are the 3s?
I got 3,000 over
Yeah, 3,000 I see, and 30,000 I see.
No, 3,000. 3,000, yeah.
But I'm looking right there at that one,
Okay.
Oh, that's 3 million.
3 million.
Do you need help with this, Bertha, or are you able to participate?
I'm still
Just a-
connecting. My phone is really weird.
Okay, well, we will be patient. Hopefully it's at least interesting to watch, even if you can't participate.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, on to the next one.
Cool.
So,
That's what
did
it-
you ever play with
Lego.
base 10 blocks?
Yes,
Yeah, I have some in my office. Maybe we can play with them if you really want. But for now, so that both the roomies and the zoomies can do stuff together. Then I want you to make these numbers with base 10 blocks. So for 12, I'm gonna need a 10, so I'm gonna go just Control C and Control V like most other things on the computer. So there's a 10. And then I need 2 ones, so I'm gonna grab that. And shrink it a little if it let me. So I have made 12, 10, 11, 12. So how about 451 or 306? See if you can make those for us.
Someone's duplicating.
That's okay. If you talk to each other, you don't have to just fight over things without.
Oh, I'm just gonna watch. I'm learning stuff here.
As a side note, my wife is what's called a project manager. She's in charge of people in different teams that are all over the world working together on computer stuff. She
Oh,
spends
I see.
hours a day on Miro, using it to keep track of who has which to-do lists and so on. So this whiteboard program is good job potential stuff. It's not just because we're doing it in the math class. It's something that maybe you'll use together.
Basically, you get hands-on learning.
So me and I didn't accept the cookie.
Good
Okay.
job, Isaac. Keep
Remind me of sign in G.
Don't have the G, I have like a.
that goes pretty.
It's
Running.
Is there any way that you can make them smaller on that 400? I think it was,
On
I
it.
could just make them space.
You can overlap them some, that's fine. That better?
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, this is like hands-on learning right now, it's really hands-on.
That's the goal. It will make more sense and stick better if it's
It's
consistent.
exactly, it looks like you're moving stuff.
I think it's done. There we go. Okay.
It won't shrink for me. Won't shrink for me, computer. For some reason.
What's not working?
Needs to.
Oh, there, okay, see it.
Ah, okay.
Someone's getting it right.
Yes, or no?
Right,
Okay,
getting
so
it
that might
right
be-
now. It's right.
Sorry, guys, I just had a big soda, I had to go to the bathroom, sorry about that.
We already reset the password of that already, logged in once already.
Okay.
This is tempting, I'm gonna have to make some.
Yeah.
This seriously is tempting, so I'm gonna have to make some.
Take one, there's extra.
Where's the,
Mhm.
is there another one? Thank you.
It doesn't help when you have a big soda, I just finished drinking a big soda, so I had to go to the bathroom.
Another one there?
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Is there any more over there? Oh, there,
Oh,
good
this
job,
is-
Randy. There you go, good job.
Okay, I think we're done.
Yeah, good job, guys.
So, you may have heard that when you're writing numbers, you can put a 0 in the front and it doesn't change it, like 0, 1, 2 is the same as 12, it just looks funny. If you have heard that, now you can kind of see what happens, there's 0 hundreds, we have no flat squares, it was just the 10 and the 2 ones. But that does look really weird, I'm gonna get rid of that too. With the 451, we have 405 tens and 1 little 1, so that's great. And 306, we have 3 0 tens and then 6 ones, so that's also great.
So this is called place value, right?
Yep, we're doing place value, and different things about place value. Place value is a cool kind of broad. concept.
This is kind of fun.
It should be nice, okay. So discussion question, imagine that you were part of some government agency. And they wanted cash to work like place value, so that whatever amount of money you had in your wallet, there was only one way to do that. Could that work? What kinds of bills would that country have to use?
I don't know, that's a good question.
There's nothing to write this time, we're just talking to each other.
We're not writing anything, honey, we're just talking to each other. This time.
There, my thing got frozen, the screen got frozen.
Mhm.
Well, there'd just be no change, I guess.
So one way it could work is if the only,
Yeah, I'm with
the only
Whitney, I don't
bills
think
were
there would be any
$1.
change.
Right, if everything
Yeah.
was ones, and there were no fives or tens or hundreds or anything. If only there were ones, then it would be true that. If I wanted $11 in my wallet, there'd only be one way to do that with 11 ones. If I wanted $18 in my wallet, there'd only be one way to do that with 18 ones, right? If I wanted $100, there'd only be one way to do that with 100 ones. But that's a very boring type of
Mhm.
money, if there's only ones. Can we still have it work that there's only one way to make? Every, if we let you have more bills,
It's you ordered. Instead of ones, pennies.
You could do quarters instead of ones, you just need 4 times as many. What happens if you try mixing quarters and ones? Now I have 2 ways to make $1. I could do 4 quarters, or I could do a $1 bill. And that's just gonna pretty much always happen, that if you have 2 kinds of bills, there's gonna be something that you can make in more than one way.
So, and basically just, doesn't matter what you do, it all breaks down.
Yeah, okay, so we've gone across the top row. So now we're gonna start the next one, and that's basically what we do during class with a little bit at the end for talking about homework and things like that.
When I was meeting with my account, it still says your viewer.
It says review only,
Yeah.
sign in through not the one link, but the main link at the top. So
I don't have a computer.
sign in through that one and it will give you what it asks. Okay, and if you're using your phone, there's a Miro app. And if you get your login stuff sorted out Thursday, we can work on your phone with the Miro app. Or just do this here.
So I'm trying.
Okay, and our next puzzle. There's a bus that makes 6 stops before arriving at the downtown station. At each stop, 3 more passengers get on than the previous stop. The last stop, the 6th stop before downtown, 20 people get on the bus. So how many people get on the bus total? So stop 6, we know, that was 20 more.
Right now.
So how are we gonna figure out how many people are on the bus total when it arrives finally at the downtown station? You can edit those text boxes, just like I did. You can talk to each other and plan it out. So how would we solve this one?
More pass must be where every stop is 3.
So Isaac is doing something. Tell us what you're doing, Isaac. It looks right.
I believe it's basically just subtracting from 3 from each stop from stop 6 essentially, or adding 3 from stop 2 or
Oh.
stop 1.
Yeah, subtracting 3 from 6 makes sense, because 6 is the only one we know. It might be true that stop 1 has 3, but we're not actually sure. So starting at the end is safe.
We had, we had 2 more passengers are missing. 6 times 3.
Want some pancakes on you? Okay, I'm gonna go over here and make me some pancakes.
Okay, get it preheated first. So-
I know,
Okay, 350 is good.
350, okay.
So we have,
Okay, now it's the calculator's problem. So I'm gonna go to my calculator and say we had 5 at one stop, and then 8, and then 11, and then 14.
350 scared right
And
there.
then 17, and then 20, and the total is 75. So 75 people on the bus.
How do we know like what it's even asking though?
How do we know what it's asking?
Yeah,
Because the last sentence, how many people are on the bus total?
okay, that's the total we're
Yeah.
looking for.
It's Kayla's name is hiding it a little bit. How many people got on the bus total? So at the first stop, 5 people got on. Then 8, then 11, then 14, then 17, and then 20. And that makes a total of 7.
Okay.
The temptation, the trick was you can't start at step 1, you have to start at 20 and work backwards, going down each time.
And then next.
Okay, I'm going to scroll over to. So our next thing is about writing numbers, and this is a little weird. It's stuff that I didn't know until I made this lesson. So how do you write things formally in a checkbook? How do different people in different countries write long numbers differently? So let's clear all of our arrows off so we can read things. Here's 4 different ways to write the number 5,622,106. And as I said it, then there were things I said with my voice that I had to make choices. Do I do pauses? That might be a comma when I write it. Do I say the word and so on? And I wasn't very careful just now. I was sort of sloppy and colloquial with how I spoke. But if we're very careful, which of these are officially correct? What might you see in a newspaper or a book that's been edited? Or when you write a check, if you happen to write a check for $5 million someday, then and which of them would be the wrong way to write this kind of big number? So just looking at the 4 options, is there any of them that look especially good or bad before we move the shapes and reveal the answers?
How do you go to the next page?
And I'll just bring you all here. You use the other mouse button.
How could you tell when these are ready? That doesn't look like it's
They
ready.
pull up on the edges from me. So they're not ready, they're not bubbling yet.
No, they're not, okay.
I would say 3 and 4, wouldn't keep that standing, has.
Okay. Haley is moving shapes. Move that first shape, Haley. Let's see what, oh, and is it Zach moving? So the first one has no commas anywhere. And everyone agrees that's bad. The second option has no commas and no ands. Right, 2000.
No.
Oh, and it should say 100. Why does it say 200? There's a typo,
2 typo.
a bunch of typos.
You'll fix it.
I'll fix it. There's one.
Here to rescue, Dave to rescue.
Okay, so I'm trying to, so what makes those different?
So. That roll line use when.
Oh, is this the dash? So.
Okay, yeah.
There's the dash right there in 22. The
Okay.
third one, where you have a comma. Wherever there would be a comma when you wrote the number. So you start with the ones place with the 6. And then after hundreds, you've gone 3 things, ones, tens, hundreds. So now I need a comma before the thousands. Then you have thousands, 10,000, hundreds, thousands, you need a comma before the million. So every 3, you do a comma. So if you put the comma in, that's what we do when we're speaking or writing in newspapers or things. If this was something about the budget for the government was 5,622,106, then this third way is the way that people like writing things for newspapers. But if you're writing a check, then officially, and again, I didn't know this until I made this lesson, you're not supposed to put the commas in.
Oh, interesting.
Then if you write the word and in places, only Australia thinks that's officially correct. And it's certainly what I'm used to saying out loud. But that's just because of how I was taught. Right?
But in a check form, you don't say that.
Yeah, when you're a check, you don't
Right,
read that.
that is.
So there's some disagreement about details. So if you were writing for newspapers, there's things you would know these names, the AP style book, the Modern Language Association handbook, the Chicago Manual of Style Words, the type. That's telling people what officially good grammar is. And they have some disagreements, so I'm gonna scroll to the side and we'll see more about this. So the problem is. Does 350,000, does it mean? I have a really big number, 350 of the thousands. Or does it mean 300 and plus 50,000? And that's an ambiguity, and that's why only Australians use the word and when writing large numbers. Because it's a little uncertain of which of those you might mean by it. So the rest of the world decided, no, that's like risky, let's not do that. Similarly, if a science fiction story says there are 1,237 people building some settlements on Mars. Does that mean that all those things together has 1,237? Or are they two lists of three that are supposed to match up? That there's 1,000 people, 200 buildings, and 37 settlements. So again, using and in the middle of words can lead to ambiguity. You might order the wrong number of colony things. So we avoid commas when writing numbers as words and avoid the word and things like that. According to most of these handbooks, if the number would require more than 2 words, then you should write it in digits. If you're in a book or a newspaper type setting. So the AP style book is more strict and says that any number bigger than 9, just be safe, write it as digits, don't try and write it as words. So are you ever gonna get tested on this? No, GED doesn't have this. But it is kind of interesting while talking about place value to say that, oh, I've actually been writing checks wrong all my life. When you're writing a check, the word and is supposed to be just between the dollars and the cents. So $4.50. And you're not supposed to put other ands in other places.
Okay. So you're supposed to put an in, that's,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
So, okay, I'm gonna pull everyone here. Most of you are following along, obviously. So there's some text boxes to edit. See where it says here or here. So see if you can make things all match. So for the first row, 1,204.
I
So
made
I
it,
gotta
but
write
it left
that.
tacos.
1,204. And there's one rule I forgot to explain as we went by and it happened, so I'm gonna scroll and show you. Of the first 2 things, this one had the dash in the 22,000. So the rule is that you use a dash after a word that ends in Y. 22, 34, things like that. If the word ends with Y, it's one of those counting by tens words, then you put a dash after it. So that's that. Right. Okay, so anyway, back to here. So 1,200, and I could put and 4 if I'm talking like an Australian, but apparently, even though that's how I was trained, I'm not supposed to, so there we go. Again, no one will grade you on this, that's okay. Okay, 30,425, so yes, that was done nicely. And then what's the biggest place value in that? That would be the 10,000 place value. Yeah. In the middle, 602,031. Can somebody change the text box right in the middle so that it says the right words? We don't have to do these in order. You can jump ahead to one that no one else is working on.
Okay, whatever, cool.
Oh.
Which one's the icon that you select to type in?
Just double click on the text box.
Okay.
So,
What's the sound? There's a window air conditioner thing that's moving up above us. This building won all sorts of green energy awards, which means we hate it. The windows will open and close on their own, and we can't control it, so in the summer, when there's wildfires, it lets all the smoke in. And every now and then, being across from the library, there'll be some loud protest, and we can't close the windows. Thanks, it's hot.
What was that sound?
Oh, it's the air conditioning that's closing up above.
Oh, cause I was hearing it when I went to the trash can, and I thought maybe something was blowing up.
No, okay, somebody made, whoops. He actually locked.
I like your shirt, Zach, that's cute.
What's that gray box? Why can't I know? I got
They
some of
need
it.
double clicking the screen.
So if you just double click a text box, you should be able to edit it.
Okay.
Okay, 12,340,005. Perfect.
Move them up.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
Move them up.
yeah, move that box out of the way.
Sure, maybe if you told me which icons did what.
But yeah,
So-
that's move it, draw it, text boxes and shapes, but mostly you just double click things. Or single click things, cause I've made
You
the
told me
stuff.
to put something you didn't like show where on the
Oh,
screen.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
What am I at?
Yeah, I thought that so, now, they didn't bother to explain that earlier.
A million.
I can hardly hear anything when there's a dog barking outside. I'm only hearing the dog. This one's gonna be hard because I don't write checks. That's what ATM machines are for in a bank card.
And Venmo, right? Who uses checks anymore?
No one, that's my point.
I use it.
I use checks, yeah. I use them because Saturday market, there are people. that-
They're already kind of written on there, so I don't actually kind of spend money and put it on.
Okay, this.
That's my point, hardly anyone uses checks anymore when you have a bank card.
182,000 and then nothing else. Okay.
Are you drinking a smoothie over there? Is that your
No,
breakfast?
it's
Is that your
tea.
dinner?
And I'm talking and talking, so I need to not dry out my throat.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, you can't drive and fall asleep at the wheel.
I'm in a one-wheel home, so I would fall asleep off the wheel.
Does does and count as well as and, oh,
Well, we're just talking about place value, so where you're typing, you're doing it right, it's to the 600,000 is the biggest place value. Right, the six here is if I was to count them out. So we have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000, so the biggest place value is 100,000s.
so
So you're doing it right,
600.
600,000, yeah.
You were talking like a really like fast,
Fast, I'll go over it again then, let me make it bigger so that we can see.
making it bigger doesn't explain it.
So. If I'm saying my place values, then I have ones. Oh, now it doesn't change. Tens. The 0 is hundreds. The 2 is thousands. This 0 is gonna be 10,000. And then the 6 will be 100,000. So you were correct that the biggest of the place values was 600,000.
I thought it's like the same.
Yeah.
Does that work? Does that help when I explain it that way?
A little.
A little bit. Let me go back and do something else. So. Okay, so with this picture,
It went dark.
yeah, that's because I'm doing a screen clip, so. Okay. So the place value, now you can see it without my terrible handwriting.
That's much.
There we go, so we start with ones, tens and hundreds, and then we put a comma. If the number is still bigger than that, then we do thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. And then we put another comma. If the number is still bigger than that, then we do millions, 10 millions, 100 millions. And if the number is still bigger than that, then we have a comma and then billions, 10 billions, 100 billions. And the pattern follows like that, where after the ones, tens, hundreds, there'll be like the name of a category, thousands, millions, or billions. And then 3 versions of it, plain, 10 that, and 100 that.
What's the other dog, you sad?
Okay, but. I think I do want to move on, even though Gavin is still typing, because we got. Okay, as one other thing, if you wanted, you could try and fix checks. So people might say 42K, with K being a shortcut for 1,000. But really, as a check, we would want to write instead 42,000. And put that on the check and so on. So if we had more time, we could do this one, but I'm not going to.
Drag me over.
And then as our discussion questions that we're again not gonna have time for, we could talk about that. So we got 2 rows of activities done, which considering we talked about the syllabus a lot, wasn't too bad. And we'll keep going down the list. And the reason that I mentioned earlier, not all these books are ready, is that the other books, I had made up all these activities in Jamboards, so. Google had this software called Jamboard, but Jamboard, as you now see on the screen, is going away in October. So anything we did would just disappear into the void of the internet. So I'm having to remake all of these onto the other whiteboard. So that is my homework. You don't have to worry about that, but that's why I'm asking you not to run ahead. But everything will eventually be more rows in our one whiteboard. Cool. So let's talk about what we did. So we did the syllabus a bunch. Please, maybe not before Thursday, because sometimes the middle of the week is busy with jobs and kids, but read through the welcome and syllabus. Bring questions, ask me about anything you're not clear about. And then we also did the beginning of place value. There's a lot more to talk about. It should be true that if you go to the nice book and look at section 1.1 or section 4.1, then some of that will make sense. You can start doing a little bit of practice.
So is this homework?
This is homework, this is as much as you need to get happy with things. And you never turn in anything from the book. But you're just looking at their videos, looking at their example problems, trying your own versions of example problems. So that it makes sense to you. And the more you can do, the better. Again, it doesn't take an amazing amount of time for homework. If you do 15 or 20 minutes a day, that's a lot better than trying to do an hour or 2 on the weekend. A little bit every day makes our brains happier. And then if you are very happy with stuff, which I'm guessing, no, we haven't finished talking about place value yet, so this isn't for right now, but after Thursday's class, when we've done more with place value, then you can go to the My Open Math and click on place value And it'll give you some problems to do. So this again is like the icing on the cake. This is saying that I've already looked at the textbook enough that I'm feeling good about things. And in their example problems, I have done some similar ones. And I'm getting them right. I'm understanding things. So this is where you actually practice and learn, is in the textbook. The My Open Math.
Where is that?
Where is that? In the Moodle, you go to books and boards, the very first one of each, and it says click on the XYZ book.
Okay,
Chapter 1, section 1, and chapter 4, section 1.
okay.
And the My Open Math is just like to prove you got it. So don't jump there right away. The one exception is if you want, even tonight, you could do the intro and the how to enter things. They are just showing you, oh, look, type here, and you can click on this little thing and see for me the answer, and you can do, I want to try a similar one like this, or things like that. You can play around with it safely here. There should be a button somewhere, maybe if I'm not logged in as teacher, yeah, when you click on it, you can do like, oh, I'm using a special symbol. So it's getting you used to the special symbols, because if the answer had a fraction, then, oh, I need to have a numerator spot and a denominator spot and so on. So that you can do, because there's not really any math happening, it's just the typing. Yeah.
Can it explain what those symbols do?
Yeah, well, we will get to them, but for now, it's just saying, can you mimic this? So,
It's not running.
okay, and then the other thing, skip leave, was in the place value book. There were again some videos that I need to fix. My apologies that my link shortener didn't work. The problem is that in Moodle, if you put the links directly to YouTube, then they always put these big, like, show me the video preview boxes, which gets really ugly and bad for scrolling. So I used link shorteners to make it look nice, and then they betrayed me, but oh well. And then this one has no worksheets, but other topics have worksheets. So that's what we'll do. So this is kind of in class, we have the whiteboard, after class, do stuff in the homework. Maybe in some class, we'll do some things in the books. But we kind of used that time today talking about the syllabus and doing our introductions. So videos if you want besides the textbook ones, and then at the very end say, I'm ready to show off, try a homework assignment. Sound okay?
Sounds like everything.
Sounds okay.
Sounds like everything
Was everywhere.
is everywhere, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it consistent and organized, that every topic will just have those 4 things. And if we go to the next topic, rounding, then it's gonna look the same. Whiteboards are gonna move over to textbooks, so books and boards will be the same, but I haven't done it yet. So. Okay, that was a whole lot. Thank you for your patience. Hopefully, once we kind of get used to the routine, it won't be strange. And hopefully, once you've logged into the whiteboard once, you don't have to prove yourself and get edit access again the next time.
Yes.
So I'm gonna stop recording. If you have more questions, feel free to ask me. And